Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather and today we are going to be talking about the New York Times bestseller Zodiac, a novel. And for those of you who have been here before, welcome back. Those of you who have not seen my videos before, welcome. My name is Heather and this channel, we just like to have fun. We've done painting videos, crochet videos, and now we're doing a book discussion. And inevitably, you will see my cats running around here, just trying to be involved, you know. And speak of the furry devil, this is Bernie. They like to be active while I'm talking to myself on camera, so don't mind them. So this book, I'm gonna start off by reading from the back of the cover here. It says, in a galaxy where your sign determines which planet you call home, Ro, the young guardian of Cancer, must find a way to unite the divided houses of the Zodiac before an ancient evil destroys them all. But who will believe anything this young novice says? Whom can Ro trust in a universe defined by differences? Excuse me. And how can she convince 12 worlds to unite as one Zodiac? So this book is by Romina Russel. If anybody is interested in reading it, it is categorized as a Penguin teen novel, and it is part of a series which I have not read the rest of yet. There is also Wandering Star, hi Buggy, Black Moon, and 13 Rising. I don't know if there's more than that. I did borrow this, however, from my friend's daughter, so a big shout out to Amanda and her girl. Thank you so much for letting me borrow it. I did love it. I do have some issues, though, with it. So let's start off with those. So this girl, she's 16, Ro. She is in school with, you know, being trained on how to read the stars and basically be not necessarily psychic, but an astrologer. And they live in this galaxy where there are different worlds, different planets, each one in part of the Zodiac. So like Leo has their own world and Libra has their own world, and she's from Cancer, so they have their own world, and it's all based off of like Cancer is a beach world basically, with all kinds of seawater, and they live a life of fishing and that kind of thing. So that's really cool. I love that aspect about this book where they each have their own unique world building basically. Scorpio tends to have a negative connotation in this book. They don't really go over it very much because they don't visit that world, but it's kind of funny. So anyway, so she's in school for training, and when she's wrapping up her schooling and going through her test and celebrating the end of her schooling, her world is attacked. And she's thrown into this kind of war zone, basically, and made emergency guardian for her Cancer world. That sounds bad for her world, in Cancer. And she's very young when they do this to her, when she's appointed guardian. And it's because their previous guardian died in an explosion or something. I don't remember. But she's very young, so nobody really listens to her warnings. She's very good at reading the stars. I should have started off with that. And so she senses this dark presence, this dark matter coming to consume their worlds, all of them. Leo, Libra, Cancer, Gemini, Scorpio, all of them. And so she tries to warn everybody, and she thinks it's a monster that a children's tale is based on, and nobody believes her. So she thinks that this 13th house, there's only 12 houses, by the way, and so she thinks the 13th house, which is a legend in their world, is after, basically after them. So she's trying to stop it, but nobody believes her, and she goes after it herself and kind of gets an army going, and I won't give away the end. Hi, Buggy. Hi. I know. Oh, you're so loving. Yes, and furry. Cats. Yeah. Where was I? So what, it's very stereotypical and not unique in the way that there is a young girl who must save the universe. So we've seen this in the Hunger Games. Katniss was forced to save her world. We saw this in Harry Potter, where a young boy was thrown into saving his world. It's just, and Divergent too. It's just not unique. It's not a unique storyline. And so I understand it creates a lot of tension and excitement. It's just been done a lot. And so I think for Romina Russel to put it in a space kind of setting is really cool. The actual storyline is really unique in the way that she crafted these worlds and the issue at hand. It's just a basic good versus evil, but it's been repackaged into something really unique, which is very cool. My issue with it is that it is categorized as teen. She's 16, however, there's no sex scenes, which is good because then it would be an adult novel, but she's 16 and they do allude to her sleeping with somebody. I think he's her age. I think he's her age. But that doesn't really make it much better. Personally, when I was a teenager, that's not what I cared about. That's not what I was thinking of. I mean, sure, if there was a love triangle in a book and she was, you know, trying to decide who she wanted to be with, and they were both good for her and they were both bad for her in different ways, and she, like in Hunger Games, she kisses Gale and she kisses Peeta, and that's fine. Like, that's very light romance. But to allude to a 16-year-old sleeping with another kid, that's kind of crossing a line for me. I don't really want my kids reading about that. I mean, maybe I just didn't focus on that part of the stories in the books that I read when I was a teenager, and so I don't really remember those parts, but I don't know. Love triangles are overdone. I don't like them. I understand it adds tension, but it's kind of like, okay, you've got two guys fighting over you. You have feelings for both of them. I don't really care. But maybe a teenage girl does. The other issue is that she's 16 and she has she has feelings for a guy who's 7 years older than her. I can relate to this, but the fact is that he reciprocates back, and they kiss, and it's just not a great message to be sending out to teenagers. I mean, okay, my boyfriend is 7 years older than me, but I'm 30 years old. I'm twice her age almost in this book, and that's okay. Once you're an adult, who cares? But she's 16, so I don't want my 16-year-old thinking that it's okay to go out and kiss 22-year-olds. Like, that's not cool. Aside from that, I did not really have any issues. Some of the writing was a little repetitive, but not to the point that it distracted from the story. I did like, I mentioned this before, but I did like the uniqueness of the way she packaged the good versus evil. Dark unknown entity that she can't fight, can't touch, she can only talk to, and he can only attack her. She can't defend herself. That's really cool. That creates so much drama and tension, and I love it. I like that she's so young and nobody really takes her seriously, because in a lot of books, the young heroine is immediately taken seriously. Everybody follows her, everybody loves her, and she defeats the world and women power and all this stuff. And it's just like, in reality, if you're 16 years old and you're trying to warn entire worlds, entire solar systems, that they're going to be eaten alive, basically, who's going to take you seriously? I mean, especially when there is in this book proof that it wasn't an unknown entity, that it was actually, I don't remember what exactly it was, like nuclear fuel or something causing the I don't know, the atmosphere to collapse. And they don't take her seriously. And I think that's a very, in a science fiction fantasy novel that's out of this world, literally, I think that's a very realistic aspect and one that a teenage girl can relate to. So all in all, I would give this book at the least 3.5 stars, maybe 4 out of 5 stars. Just for the fact that she does kiss someone 7 years older than her, just for the fact that there is an allusion to sex when it's supposed to be a teen book. I don't know what the guidelines are for teen books these days, but when I was a teen, there was no allusion to sex whatsoever. It was all adventures, animals, maybe a kiss or two, but nothing concrete that you know, I don't know. But other than that, it was really good, and it's very adventurous, so I would recommend it a read, and depending on your parenting style, you may want to let your teenage girl read this. It just depends. I know people who would be like, who cares if there's sex mentioned as long as there's not a sex scene, or, you know, and they would let their teenage girls read it, but then I also know other parents who would really not be okay with that, even at the mere mention of it. So it just depends on your parenting style and what you want your kids to be reading. I'm also going to take this opportunity to plug my own books, which is going to be fun. So I did not write the entire book. This is an anthology that was put together by a publisher. I wrote one story in each of these. It's an anthology of short stories, and it's basically a choose your own adventure. So you kind of go through and just kind of pick what you want to read. So they're characters and settings lumped together. And so if you want to read about a clown in an apocalyptic wasteland, go to page 5. Or if you want to read about a kaiju in an evil laboratory, go to page 61. Like, it's really cool. So I did, in this first one, Crash Philosophy First Collision, I did write one story. It is not my favorite. It was actually my least favorite to write because it felt forced and rushed, and it was kind of a weird character setting combo, and I wasn't feeling it, to be honest. It's not bad, but it's just not great. It is called, it's an imaginary friend in the Triassic, and it's called Intimation. So there are tons of stories in here that are really good. So if you want to read that, if you want to buy a book, it is on my website, justhf.com, as in justhavefun.com. So it's justhf.com. The first and the second collision are on sale. In the second collision, I wrote I'm forgetting what it was. A clown in an alternate future. That one was my favorite. I really enjoyed writing that one. It's on page 189. It's called Gag Order. I mean, that was like my element. I loved it because I hate clowns, and I'm all about apocalyptic wastelands and alternate futures and just weird kind of storylines like that. I enjoyed writing it, and it's pretty good if I do say so myself. So if you want to buy that as well, it is for sale on my website, justhf.com. If you live in the Colorado Fort Collins area, they'll also be on sale at the CSU bookstore in Laurie Student Center. So if you don't want to pay shipping, they will be there soon. They're not there yet. Stop that. He's digging in the trash can. I sold 3 of the first ones already from there, so I will post updates. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook. I have a page and a group. Follow me on Tumbler, on Pinterest, and subscribe to these videos. I will post an update across all social media when those go on sale at the Student Center. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked this video, subscribe if you want to see more, hit the notification bell if you want to know every time we upload, and until next time, what are we going to do next time? I will be out for a couple weeks, so I'm not sure how soon I'm going to get another video out. I'm thinking because I am taking a road trip and I might have some time to read another book, I'll do another book review. You know what? I see one in the back there that I think I'm gonna read and try to do a book review on. Let me grab it real quick. Okay, so Death in the Air is a book that I got from either my boyfriend or his parents, but it's the true story of a serial killer, the Great London Smog, and the strangling of a city. So I'll just read the inside cover real quick. London was still recovering from the devastation of World War II when another disaster hit. For 5 long days in December 1952, a killer smog held the city firmly in its grip and refused to let go. Day became night, mass transit ground to a halt, criminals roamed the streets, and some 12,000 people died from the poisonous air. But in the chaotic aftermath, another killer was stalking the streets, using the fog as a cloak for his crimes. All across London, women were going missing. Poor women, forgotten women. Their disappearances caused little alarm, but each of them had one thing in common. They had the misfortune of meeting a quiet, unassuming man, John Reginald Christie, who invited them back to his decrepit Notting Hill flat during that dark winter. They never left. The eventual arrest of the Beast of Rillington Place caused a media frenzy, where there were more bodies buried in the walls, under the floorboards, in the back garden of this house of horrors. I read that wrong. Were there more bodies buried in the walls, under the floorboards, and in the back garden of this house of horrors? Was it the fog that had caused Christie to suddenly snap? And what role had he played in the notorious double murder that had happened in the same apartment building not 3 years before? A murder for which another, possibly innocent, man was sent to the gallows? The Great Smog of 1952 remains the deadliest air pollution disaster in world history, and John Reginald Christie is still one of the most unfathomable serial killers of modern times. Journalist Kate Winkler Dawson braids these strands together into a taut, compulsively readable, true crime thriller about a man who changed the fate of the death penalty in the UK and an environmental catastrophe with implications that still echo today. So this is going to be depressing. If you don't want to read it, that's fine. I am going to read it and discuss it in my next video, which may be a week or 2 out. If you did read the Zodiac, leave a comment with your thoughts below, just kind of how you felt about the story and your thoughts about my thoughts. And then I'll say 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we will go over Death in the Air by Kate Winkler Dawson. And until next time, happy reading.